pleasant good morning, one and all. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Monday's episode of Speaking Out, exposing corruption and incompetence. Welcome. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Hope you're looking forward to a productive week. Today is Monday, the 7th day of October, 2024. Welcome, one and all. Welcome. And I hope, as you know, once you come on, we have to tell you, share the live, share, especially today. We have so much to tell you. You know, we say that all the time. We have a lot to tell you. And I don't think we have disappointed you as yet. And we don't intend to do so today. You're not going to be disappointed. But don't be selfish. Share the live, and we're going to get started very shortly. Monday, the 7th day of October, 2024. And we are going to let you know, bring you the credible, valuable information. My colleague, Mr. Conway, is already in the studio. He's raring, he's champing at the bit, ready to go bring you the facts, bring you the truthful story. I'm here. Today, beautiful day. Another day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks to being in the land of the living. It's a privilege. It's a blessing to be in the land of the living. So we are all blessed to be here this morning to listen to credible, valuable information. So share. And as I say again, your community, we have hundreds already in the classroom, and just a few thumbs up. I look up just about 10. Give me the thing, man. Give me the thing. The program was scheduled this morning just before 7, I think around 6:58. And immediately, person rushed into the schoolyard. The schoolyard was jam-packed this morning. I must compliment you because based on the records, today, we had the largest number of students in the schoolyard. You are waiting for the information. And of course, once the school door was open, people are pouring in. People are pouring in, taking up all the vantage positions and so on. We are not going to disappoint you. Those of you who have subscribed to the channel, as I've encouraged you to do, would have noted the main subjects for discussion this morning. And we're not going to deviate from that. We're going to tell you, as we promised in the notification, what we are going to talk about this morning. So yes, share the live. We, as is customary, we're going to make some quick announcements. And let me alert you early that last week I asked about the roll call, and I had mixed reviews, and because of the volume this morning, because of the number of subjects and the fact that we need to go into them in a very detailed way, we have decided that this morning we are going to modify the roll call. And what I am going to do, I'm going to announce those persons, those who are in up to 7:30. We started just about 7. The school gate was open up to 7:30. I must alert you, however, that I had a little glitch this morning, a lot of technical glitch. I came out of the studio, and once I came out of the studio and I went back in, the first 115 students in the schoolyard, the comments of those persons were struck off. But as I said, I normally keep a note of those persons when they come and what time they came in. So I am in a position to let you know who are the students that were in early up to 7:30. And then we are going to deal with some who were in on Facebook where we went live, and then we're going to move straight into it. So in terms of the announcements, let me do the roll call, then I'm going to do the announcements quickly. You won't be able to see the names because, as I've said, the comments have been removed off of the platform. And therefore, the first person in this morning at 6:58, well, several persons came in at 6:58. To be exact, we had 5 came in at 6:58. And those 5 are B. Saul, Brian, Tessa I from Florida, Patricia from New Jersey, Ulrich from Crane, Raheem, and they came in first. Then shortly after, at 6:59, Evelyn, Anthony from Petersall, Carlton, my squad mate, Anka, Joseph, Keith, the fireman, Courtney, Saul, Floyd, Wayne Liddon from the UK, Peter, Clifton Smith, 9339, Aubrey from Canada, John Cummins, Carl Johnson, Joan Robertson, and Sidney Frederick. They all came in at 6:59. And then at 7, we had Derek, Magnell, Rawl, Semple, Eric, Cobo, 82-18, Lynette Fraser from the UK, Lucius, Lennox, well, they came in at 701, K, Vibert, that is Vibert Larson, Tom Cat came in at 701 as well, Pauline, McPherson, Melissa, Barbara, Barrington, Leon, Gibbons, Old Police, he came in at early. Then we had Dexter, and this is Dexter McAllister, Wayne, African Queen, Bert, Original Black Man, Earl, Anthony, Mary, Smith, Barlett from Linden, he came in at 704, Richard, Trust, Patricia, Conor Marukman came in at 706, Derek, and this is Derek McCalmon, came in at 706 too, Cecile Sheena, Winston Arthur from the UK, Gavin J.K. came in at 711, Dennis Moore from Florida, Diane Alikak Onika, Rhonda Chance came in at 718, Felicia Delanio Carroll, Puran Ramdas, the Essequibo Coastman, Nigel Horatio Vibert Smith, Orin Bade from the UK came in at 721, Brenda Moore, then it was Chandra Anova, Denise Booker, the secretary, Sharon Corbin from the UK, Dennis Sagan from Barbados, Clifton Stewart from Paris, Francis Kidd, and then we had Clarence Hudson and William Armstrong. Those are the people who were in the schoolyard early for up to 7:30 that I call. And then we had, when we went live, the first praise booker, we had Edward, Keith, Edward Charles, Karen, Theodore, Lennox, Steve, then it was Joyce, then who else? After Joyce, we have Rose, Rosie, we had Rastaman, and the list goes on and on and on. And yeah, we have a lot. So let me move straight into this thing, straight into the thing. And this, as I said, is a truncated roll call because we have a lot to tell you. Now, in terms of belated birthdays, I want to announce the belated birthday of Deputy Superintendent Vishnu Ant, ex-Detective Inspector Albert Moore, ex-Detective Sergeant 7699 Vernon Kamabaj, retired Sergeant 9900 McDonald. Then we had retired Detective Superintendent Trevor Osborns, and some notable persons, some prominent persons, MP Coretta McDonald and Jermaine Furguera. They had a birthday recently. Some of the students, we had Francis Skip had a birthday recently, and also Niebert Emmanuel, my countrywoman and a supporter of this program, she had a birthday recently too. I want to extend best wishes for all those who are celebrating, even though we might not have announced it today, and those who celebrated recently, all the best to you, all the best. Now, we had some, well, we had cricket last night, the finals. CPL final last night. Aileen, I didn't see Aileen on the live this morning. Maybe she can't wake up yet. Maybe she pressure gone up. I don't know. But you know, as I've been telling you all along, I'm a Guyanese, but I'm not a Warrior fan. Right? I'm not a Warrior. This is franchise cricket, people. Let me tell you clear. In the Guyana team, you have people from Barbados, you have from the UK, you have from Afghanistan, you have from South Africa. So it's not a Guyanese team. It's franchise cricket. So I cannot be worked up and get excited over franchise cricket. It's not a Guyanese representative team. So I've been warning you all the time, but you're not eating the warning. You're listening. You're setting up your blood pressure. Licks like first time. Licks, licks like first time last night. I'm not laughing because I'm glad that they lose, but I'm telling you it's the reality. It's a reality. Franchise cricket, so don't get too worked up. You talk about patriotism and all of that. I'm a patriotic Guyanese. My record will show that. But supporting the Warriors is not patriotism, because it's not a representative Guyanese team. And let me tell you more than that. I recall in 2013, when it started, some countries objected to their names being associated with these franchises. And if you note too, the only T20 franchise in the world where the country's name is associated with is Caribbean, is CPL. All the others are cities. So you got to India, you got to Australia, you got to South Africa, cities are associated with these franchises. But Guyana different. So they get Guyana, Amazon Warriors, Barbados, the Guyana, the Caribbean different. So I can't get too worked up and emotionally involved in the cricket. So let me understand this thing. And then I know the thing, as I say, is franchise cricket. This CPL, all the franchises, including the Warriors, are privately owned. They are privately owned. All of a sudden in Guyana, the government seems to have taken over the franchise. So everything now is government is money spending all of a sudden. And I know from all the arrangement from the beginning that the owner of the franchise, and you should know that the Amazon Warrior, they became they were the first franchise to be bought. First franchise to be bought, and then later on, other franchises were bought. So I can't get woke up. I ain't going to spend much time on that. But let me commiserate with those persons who I know, Aileen, Jakey, and all Ulrich, all y'all, what's set up by your pressure over the fact that we franchise cricket. Franchise cricket. Yeah, let me move on though. Recently there were 2 anniversaries that I want to talk about. The first anniversary is the anniversary 3rd of October 1969 is the date when myself and many other youths, teenagers, joined the Guyana Youth Corps. We were seeking adventure and we went to the Guyana Youth Corps. Chumachamari at that time was the only camp. We went there. So on the 3rd of October this year, we celebrated an anniversary. Some of us caught up over the weekend and reminisced on the good times we had. Well, let me say this. I am forever grateful for that opportunity presented to me and others by the then Prime Minister Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham. I was one of those rebellious youths, 14 years old, very rebellious. And I decided to go and seek adventure. And I went on this Guyana Youth Corps thing. And that has changed me. That has made me into what I am today. Right? That has made me. And you always say, people say, it's not how you start, it's how you end. Because had it not been for the Guyana Youth Corps, I don't know what would have been my outcome. Maybe I would have turned to a life of crime and all of that. But you add that organization there to capture a lot of youth. And yeah, I was a rebellious youth. Rebellious youth. You don't want to listen to authority. You thought you know it all. But you went there and some discipline was brought. Well, yeah, Emerson, not Louis, was Louis Amsterdam was the director. Louis, Louis, Louis Amsterdam. And that was a wonderful opportunity presented to me and many others. And that was before the Guyana National Service. The Youth Corps, the Guyana Youth Corps at Chumachamari, then later it expanded to several places, Kanamarook and all of that. And then in 1974, I think it was, the Guyana National Service was birthed. And they had camps all over. And when this current government, did away with the Guyana National Service. So when you see all sort of illegal airstrips in the interior and all of that, you want to wonder. Because in those days, you had a presence, Papaya, Kanamarook, Chumachamari, Kimbia, all of those places as a national service present. National service, and therefore all of these illegal activities could not have been taking place. But then they discontinued that. One wonders if it was by design. Those things were discontinued, and we see what happening now. Illegal airstrips all over the place, drug running, and all sorts of things. We have lost control of those areas. So yes, we had the anniversary over on the 3rd was the anniversary, and some of us caught up over the weekend and we reminisced. And then after that, we also had the anniversary on the 5th, 2 days ago, of the 1992 elections. 1992 elections, which saw the PPP coming into power on the 5th of October. When the PPP people now come and they attack Paul Slow, people like, and them I know, I got to remind them, for the older ones, people like Donald Ramatar, Gail Teixeira, if the nicotine distraction brain yet, Clement Roy, and the older ones will remember my role on the 5th of October, 1992. There was an outbreak of violence in the city. At the time, I was a superintendent in charge of the TSU, and I went out on the road with the police and restored order to Georgetown. I was then seen as the most professional police officer. That's when PPP came into office in 1992. I was the most professional police officer. And that reputation, of course, I still have that. But then they start to swing after the incident with me and Gadraj in 2003 when I was Commander Borbies, when Gadraj wanted me to do something illegal. And Jack Dio joined with Gadraj, and I stood up and I resisted them. And they decided they're going to spite me and all that. But y'all check back the record. There was a commission of inquiry into that, what took place in 1992. Commission of inquiry. I have that report somewhere. Yeah? But I went out there and did what was the professionally correct thing to do. So much so that a lot of people, I was hated by the people who were dealt with in the correct legal manner. And I was a king. I was praised by the PPP. On the 16th of September 2020, when I had that meeting with this President Ifanal, he told me that. Oh, I'm very well respected. And they remember what I did on October the 5th, 1992, and all of that. So let me tell you all something. You got to remind them of these things. And a lot of them, even the businessmen, until now. I remember recently I went into a business space in Rob Street, and the man reminded me, right, what I did to restore order to Georgetown. So you got to remind them of these things. That was the 5th. I see the day slide that slip through. I know if they had any remembrance and all that. And then the third one I want to remind you quickly before we move on is we had on the 6th yesterday was the anniversary of the Cubana air disaster, where 11 Guyanese perished in that the disaster, a terrorist bombing, plane leaving the airport in Barbados. Those students and doctors and Guyanese, 70-something people were killed, bomb exploded just off the coast of Barbados. That was on the 6th of October, 1976. Then, partly, I know years ago there used to be a remembrance arrangement, but in recent times I can't recall any such activity. Different folks, different strokes, things change. But we got to remember these things. These are significant occurrences in our history, and we must remember them. Now, this month, October, you see me wearing my pink shirt because this month is what? They say Cancer Awareness Month, or some people say Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'm wearing my pink shirt in observance of Cancer Awareness Month, which is October month. October month, cancer awareness. I had a sister who passed 2015 with cancer. I have a friend who recently passed with cancer. So yes, Cancer Awareness Month is October, and I urge you all to take part in whatever activities they have to bring awareness to this deadly disease called cancer. They got other deadly diseases too, no only cancer. They got some diseases that walk on 2 foot. Some of them bees and them deadly diseases. Some B, some H's, and all sort of things. So cancer is deadly, but guess some of them just as deadly. Yeah, Commissioner Cole, also Agriculture Month is October month. I know long ago, back in Bonham days, it should be a big thing, man, big thing. Agri Month and so on. Yeah, bro, real men wear pink, and I can wear my pink because I have no issues with my sexuality. Real men wear pink, and that is why I am wearing my pink today. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then we're gonna move into the main subject. CC, I'll open the button and warm up the thing then, Swan. Doctor, my brother, what are your take on these things?
Good morning. Happy to be in the land of the living to do God's work. The cricket, let me see. My son came to me after church. He had VIP ticket, and I said, I ain't getting no way, buddy. I ain't getting no way. Me and your mother gonna sit down and watch it. And be sit down and you watch it. So I years ago, like you, I used to be a cricket fanatic, but not now, not now with the decline of the West Indies cricket, and now with this franchise cricket. I don't think whatever will be. What happen. But there are some many issues that we have to discuss this morning. Critical issues, and I think we need to get on with it.
So therefore, let's get on with it. Let's get on with it. Folks, as I said in the notification yesterday, that one of the issues we're going to talk about, and perhaps I'm going to take up the whole morning, I suspect you're going to take up the entire morning, is the stated intention of the president to appoint Clifton Ikin as the Commissioner of Police. Stated in session, President Gil Teixeira wrote to the opposition leader, or the leader of the opposition, how you want to style it, to say that they're going to appoint the intention. And we're going to read the letter that was sent to the leader of the opposition, and we are going to do our dissecting of that letter. And, you know, before I go any further, I will tell you, I'm going to ask Mr. Conway to tell us again what the Constitution says about the appointment of the commissioner and deputy commissioners of police. The Constitution, I think it's Article 211. So let me bring in CC. He's a constitutional man. He's the man who's got to the law books. He just buy books. He don't go and steal them. And he has these books, and let me ask him to tell us what the Constitution says about the appointment of commissioner and deputy commissioner. CC, let me hear you there, man.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, like you know, I buy my books. I don't thief them. I don't otherwise obtain them, you know. And I'm not going to read word for word the Constitution, but it states that the president will appoint commissioner or deputy commissioner or even acting commissioner after meaningful consultations with the leader of the opposition and the chairman of the Police Service Commission, who would have consulted with other members. So I don't know if writing a letter to the opposition leader of the opposition is meaningful consultation, or making a statement that you're going to appoint a king is meaningful conversation. It said meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition and the chairman of the Police Service Commission, who would have consulted with him. But then there's another part of this proposed appointment is that he can has passed the age of retirement. He's an extension. I say he's a squatter, and he's an extended squatter. So how could you conform an extended squatter? He has passed the age of retirement. I think the PNC has challenged it, and the Chief Justice shelter under the doctrine of necessity. That which was wrong is now made right by necessity. I was surprised that the opposition didn't go all the way to the CCJ. They just left it halfway so that we'd have proper clearance, proper guidance. But Ikin has long past the age of retirement, and you confirming. To me, there's total nonsense and even unconstitutional. But let's see what will develop, what will play out.
All right, so we understand what is required for the appointment of the commissioner according to the Constitution. Now, I have been privileged to see something on social media and so on. It would appear that sometime last month, the government, through the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, Teixeira, wrote to the leader of the opposition, saying we considering appointing Ikin and 5 persons, Ikin as commissioner, 5 persons as deputy commissioner. Those persons were named. They provided the CV for those persons and all of that. Based on what is being read, I didn't see there was a response from the leader of the opposition, and he said, "Look, I am not in favor of the appointment. I don't know if they are, but Ikin," and he seemed to have outlined some reasons why he was not in favor of the appointment of Ikin. Now, to follow up to that, on the 2nd of October, that is a couple of days ago, the same person, Gil Teixeira, wrote again to the leader of the opposition and to highlight. Let me read, and we're going to dissect it. Let me read what is written. It is addressed 2nd of October, Office of the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, to Mr. Aubrey C. Norton, MP, Leader of the Opposition, Office of the Leader of the Opposition, Regent Road, Border, Georgetown. Dear Leader of the Opposition, and the subject is consultation on the appointment of Commissioner of Police pursuant to Article 211(1) of the Constitution. Then she says, your letter dated 17th of September 2024 refers. This response is delayed as a result of His Excellency's international engagements in Europe and North America, which have been well publicized. Your decision not to support the appointment of Mr. Clifton Ikin as Commissioner of Police is unfortunate. Instead, you have leveled several unsubstantiated allegations against Mr. Ikin, which His Excellency has carefully considered and to which he responds hereunder for the record. Interestingly, you did not raise any such allegation when His Excellency meaningfully engaged you in the appointment of Mr. Ikin to act in the Office of Commissioner of Police in accordance with the Constitution. Now let me stop there. We are going further. But I recall very well, you hear what you're saying? Interestingly, you did not raise any such allegation when His Excellency meaningfully engaged you in appointing Mr. Ikin to act as act in the Office of Commissioner of Police in accordance with the Constitution. Meaningfully engaged. This thing went to court, as Mr. Conway pointed out, when the appointment of Ikin was made as acting commissioner sometime in 2022, I think it was, it reached the court. Objections were raised. Some of the same objections that were raised in the document or in the letter to the or in the response to the president on this were raised then, but they went here, they made the appointment because these people being very disingenuous, because if you remember, the issue with Ikin being appointed as acting commissioner was that at the time when the appointment was made, there was no leader of the opposition. Mr. Joseph Armand has given up the position, and no one had been appointed, and they made the appointment. And the Chief Justice ruling was that since there was no leader of the opposition at that time, right, there was no one to consult with. So for Gail to share to come in now to tell us that those things weren't raised when there was meaningful consultation. They're being downright liars and being disingenuous. I say this again, the records are there. At the time when Clifton Ikin was appointed as the acting commissioner in 2022, right, the matter went to the court. It went to the High Court. It was challenged as being unconstitutional because there was no consultation. That is what they argued. And the Chief Justice, in a ruling, the records are there, I have it somewhere too, said that at the time when the appointment was made of Clifton Ikin as the acting commissioner, there was no leader of the opposition, and therefore there was no one to consult with. And given the need for the appointment, again, Mr. Conway said the appointment would have been lawful to a doctrine of necessity of whatever it was. That is what it was said. So for Gail to share now to come and say that these issues weren't raised with His Excellency, meaningfully engaging you in appointment, that never took place. That never took place. That never took place. No consultation took place, and that was the challenge. That Article 211 says there should be meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition and the chairman or the chairperson of the Police Service Commission. There was no leader of the opposition at the time. We got to remind you all about these things, We have to remind. Before I go forward, let me bring in Mr. Conway if you want to say anything on this particular part. We can go through it paragraph by paragraph. But Mr. Conway, do you recall?
And she addressing Aubrey Norton personally. Aubrey Norton wasn't the leader of the opposition.
Yeah,
So she could
exactly.
say that he made no objections. Total nonsense.
Yeah,
Lies and more lies.
yeah, lies and more lies. But let me move on to the first paragraph in the letter now, where she lists several things. Having examined the report emanating from the Linden Commission of Inquiry dated 28th of February 2013, there is no finding thereof which support your contention that Mr. Ikin, quote, lied to the commission about his telephone communication with the then sitting minister, end of quote. In fact, there was no specific finding in the said report implicating Mr. Ikin in any improper conduct. Let me remind you all what happened there. Let me remind you all. Mr. Clifton Ikin was the commander of E Division. When they had this protest at the bridge, there was this increase on the electricity bill, and the people came out to protest. 3 men were shot and killed by the police under the command of Ikin in Linden. A commission of inquiry was held. And during the commission of inquiry, Ikin was one of the witnesses. I followed it closely. I get a report someplace. During on the being examined on the oath, he stated when questioned that he never had any conversation, telephone conversation with Minister of Home Affairs Clement Roy during a particular time frame. Now, the people they subpoenaed the records of the telephone company, and it showed that the telephone that was owned and operated by Ikin made a call to Clement Roy during that same time frame that he denied conversing with the Minister of Home Affairs. The Minister of Home Affairs, Clement Roy, then took the stand sometime after and gave evidence under oath. And when questioned, he said yes, he can had a conversation with him during that particular period of time. And the police didn't even kick in because they say, all right, they can say he never had a conversation, Roy. Roy said, yes, they had a conversation. You don't know who lying. Could be that Ikin lying, could be that Roy lying. But you had to have had an investigation. So this thing that no investigation was done to determine who was telling the truth, whether it was Ikin or whether it was Roy. No investigation was done. So for her to say that here on the records, interestingly, but no, there's no finding thereof which support your contention that Mr. Ikin lied to the commissioner about the telephone conversation. The records are there. The records are there. What should have happened is that based on the fact that there are two conflicting statements over the same issue, an investigation should have been done to determine who lied. And I know who the lied. Based on the report and the evidence, I know who was the liar. Right? So that is what you said. And let me bring in Mr. Conway to deal with that paragraph. We said we are dealing paragraph by paragraph. See, you remember that? I know you went to the inquiry commission with almost every day. You remember that?
Almost every day. Well, let me just backtrack a bit. I was a member of the Guyana Police Force then, an assistant commissioner when Ikin was commander there. I was in charge of training. Bromell was the commissioner of police. And a couple of days before the inquiry, before the protests, I told Bromell, I said, look, I went to him, I said, call Hicken and tell him when he's coming to the next admin meeting, he must come with what you call is how he will deal with the protest, because the people had given us notice that there would have been protest action. I said, let him come with his operational order. And there's a standing thing. I don't know if they use it now. We call it IIMAC. The document means you talk about the information, your intention, your method, your administration, and your communication. I said, Leroy, Kali. And he picked up the phone and he called Bromell. And he called Hicken. He said, when you come into the meeting, come with your operational order. How you're going to deal with this 1 week of protests. Hicken came to the meeting and he reported, but he didn't mention anything about how we will deal with this situation at Linden. So I turned to Bromell. I said, Skipper, the man operation order. So Bromell said, what me operation order? He said, Skipper, don't bother them. If they do anything, if they misbehave, I will sort them out. And Bromell left it at that. He didn't press Hicken, because if Hicken had presented his operation order, he would have had advice from us there how to deal with the situation. I was the commander for Linden. A lot of commanders, the person working, they would know how to deal with them, with them, but he left it at that. And he did sort them out. And he sorted them out in a deadly way. 3 persons died. And I can remember the telephone issue where the inquiry, they had subpoenaed the company, GT&T, I think is now One Communication, and they produced extracts of the telephone where showing that Hicken was in contact with Roy from Hicken telephone to Roy telephone, and Roy admitted on the cross-examination that he had contact with Hicken. So I don't know what were they saying, that he had contact with Hicken. Hicken spoke with Roy during that period here.
Yeah, and I put up something to one of my students. You know, you have bright students. The students saying oral arguments in challenge to act up Kaicho News, right? July 20th, 2022, Kaicho News. Yeah, you can go and see it yourself. that it was challenged. The whole thing appointment was challenged. Now let me move on to the next paragraph, paragraph 2. Here paragraph 2 of this letter from Gail Teixeira to Arby Norton says, in the year 2007, Mr. Ikin held the post of Assistant Commissioner of Police, Commander of A Division. Subsequent to the Commission of Inquiry to which you refer in item 2 of your letter, Mr. Ikin was elevated to the post of Assistant Commissioner Operations. Now let me go into that. Yes, the Commission of Inquiry that is referred to in this paragraph is the Commission of Inquiry that I conducted, which inquired into the plot to assassinate President Granger. Right? That is what they're referring to. Ikin came, he was commander of a division, came and he gave evidence. And again, I made in my report, and I telling you all know, anybody who want the report, if you want the report, send me. A lot of people sent me their email address, and I have sent them a copy of that COI report. It is there. It's a public document. It's not nothing secret that is being divulged, right? I will send it to you all. Because in that very report, again, there was an issue in contention where Ikin said under oath that he did not communicate this time with Silal Prasad, who was the commissioner at the particular time. And when Silal came to give evidence, Silal said, well, they did communicate during the same period of time. So you see the pattern? And I said, like I said before on this program here just now, that you can't say Eli, this is the policing thing. He said under oath that he did not communicate. The man come with Silal Prasad. Silal come and say, yes, they did communicate. One of them lying. Both of them could not be speaking the truth. But you can't determine who lied just like that. You have to do an investigation. So in the report that I submitted, I said that this matter should be investigated. Someone of the two committed perjury. They lied on the oath. And I recommended that an investigation should be done into that. No investigation was done. No investigation was done. And then for the last part, again, this I can dissect this thing, Hear what she says. Hear what she says. Subsequent to the Commission of Inquiry to which you refer in item 2 of your letter, Mr. Ikin was elevated, and the elevated is on the line, to the post of Assistant Commissioner Operations. Well, let me tell you this, that the police know. Ikin became Assistant Commissioner of Operations shortly after, within 2 days after the government came into office on the 2nd of August 2020. Let me repeat that. So when you say subsequent, it's right. Subsequent to the Commission of Inquiry to which you refer in item 2 on your letter, Mr. Ikin was elevated to the post of Assistant Commissioner Operations. That is true. But when was he elevated there? Around the 3rd or 4th of August 2020. The president was sworn in on the 2nd of August, and one of the first instructions that was given was for Ikin to come to headquarters to be there at operations, and I think the post immediately before him was Woman Deputy Commissioner Maxine Graham. The records are there. The facts are there. And this is what I don't like. You can't run away from the fact. So yeah, you're saying that he was A Division, correct? And then there's a subsequent to the Commission of Inquiry to which you refer in item 2 of your letter, Mr. Ikin was elevated to the post of Assistant Commissioner. Who elevated him to that post? And I'm not sure that you can refer to as an elevation. It's a lateral movement, basically. Assistant Commissioner A Division, Assistant Commissioner B Division, Assistant Commissioner Operations, and the chart will say that one is senior. So perhaps technically, yes, you might want to say. But I'm saying that Ikin went to that post after this government came into position. And I know the story. I know. When they were called, when they were told on the same day of the swearing-in, Sunday, the 2nd of August, 2020, that Ikin must come to operations, and he came to operations. So when they're talking about this, again, I tell them I'm going to destroy them with the truth and the fact, right? Michael Young, when he wrote in the article, Michael Young from Germany, the Volkswagen company, when he wrote in the article, he said, speak the truth and shame the devil. That was the caption of the article he wrote, the headline. Speak the truth and shame the devil. And that's exactly what we are doing. Let me bring Mr. Conway to deal with paragraph 2. CC paragraph 2 about about the elevation to the post of Assistant Commissioner Operations. Let me hear you, my brother.
All right, let me add my own 2 cents in it. I can recall after the COI that you conducted, Chairman, I went there many days and listened. Shortly after then, Hicken was sent to the civil, was sent to the Ministry of Citizenship under Winston Felix. And his main role was to look at the Venezuelans, the illegal immigrants in region 1782 and elsewhere. There is where he was with Winston Felix. And shortly after election, a couple days afterward, they're moving from there and put him in charge of operations. And not only alone, Blanham, who been in Region 1, they bring him back as head of CID. Caesar, who they masquerading about the place, they bring him back as head of the serious crime. Karim Bash, who been at CDC, they bring in charge of Suku. Budrum, they make him head of special branch. Brutus, they bring him as admin. And a whole set of other officers, there are some movements there who were placed in what they were feel strategic positions, and that wasn't decision taken by the police force. Those were political decisions. Those were political decisions. So I'm saying that he can move from Ministry of Citizenship to operations a couple of days after the election.
That election after they swearing in, after the swearing in,
Yeah.
right? Now, I might have made a mistake with a year. I see Carl Carlton saying that it got to be 2020. 2020, talk about the swearing in of the current president and the movement is 2020. So if I said 2015 again, you have a way when you're flowing. Sometimes it's a slip of the tongue. It's not the fault of the mind. So, Carlton, thank you for bringing that to attention. But let me say more. Let me elaborate a little more on this movement that Mr. Conway is speaking about of all those officers immediately after the government came into power, immediately after. And that is part of the problem, because in August of 2020, when the government came into power, they moved these people, as Mr. Conway mentioned, to these senior positions. They did not have the rank for those positions. Many of them did not have the experience. And as we read before, the promotion had to be done by the Police Service Commission. In the past, the records will show that the Police Service Commission would have rubber stamped whatever they wanted. But I was the chairman of the Police Service Commission at the time. Mr. Conway was a member. We had Mr. Mike Samarsal, Ms. Vesta Adams, and Ms. Clay Jarvis. We were all members of the commission, and we were independent. The Constitution said we are an independent body. So the meeting that I had with the president on the 16th of September, this underhand meeting that he arranged for me to meet with him, was to try to get these people that moved into this position promoted. That was the aim of the meeting, to influence me as the chairman of Police Service Commission to get those persons promoted. I remember telling him that I am not the Police Service Commission. The Police Service Commission is comprised of 5 members. I might be chairing it, but these decisions have to be made by the Police Service Commission, and that there were rules to be followed. I told him that on the 16th of September in the afternoon, 2020. And then the trouble started, because it thing when the shortlist was leaked and all of that. We spoke about it several times on this program before. Right? Now we move on to paragraph 3 of the said letter from Minister of Governance, Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, to Mr. Norton, leader of the opposition. The third paragraph said, the records reflect that on the 3rd of September 2018, Mr. Aiken was superseded by 5 officers of the Guyana Police Force, all of whom were his juniors, but who were promoted ahead of him to the post of Commissioner of Police and Deputy Commissioners of Police, respectively. I know respectively coming. Aggravatingly, Mr. Aiken was then transferred to the position of Commander B Division. Let me read that back, and then we can dissect it. The records reflect that on the 3rd of September 2018, Mr. Aiken was superseded by five officers of the Ghana Police Force, all of whom were his juniors, who were promoted ahead of him to the post of Commissioner of Police, Deputy Commissioners of Police, respectively. Aggravatingly, Mr. Aiken was then transferred to the position of Commander B Division. Now, let me address that. First of all, on the 3rd of September, there was no police service commission. Gail, on the 3rd of September 2018, there was no police service commission. The commission that I chaired was sworn into office on the 9th day of September. I got that wrong. Sorry, let me go back. There was a police service commission then, but the promotion that she refers to did not take place on the 3rd of September. It took place on the 30th of September because we became members of the police service commission the 8th of August. I may have misspoken before. Let me correct that. There was a police service commission, but on the 3rd of September, no promotion was made. The promotion was made when the commissioner and the deputies were appointed on the 30th of September 2018. Now let me talk about the seniority that she refers to. Let's talk about the seniority. All of those persons who were promoted, Leslie James, Nigel Appy, Maxine Graham, Alves, Lyndon Alves, and Paul Williams, all of them joined the work before Aiken. Aiken joined the force in 1988. They were all there before. They, at the rank of senior superintendent, they were all senior to Aiken. All those persons who I call, I get a record, I can tell you all the dates and all that. They were senior to him. And this PPP government in 2015, 1st of January 2015, promoted Aiken to assistant commissioner ahead of a whole set of people who were senior to him. Let me repeat that, the records are there. The 1st of January 2015, the current administration, because the police service commission then was a rubber stamp. Allegation made against them that they collected money to promote people. We know because Aiken was even recommended by the force because he had not met the qualifications. And when it filed when the promotion got to the police service commission in Rab Street and in Breakdown, he was promoted ever these people who were senior to him, who were senior. So yes, he was senior as an assistant commissioner to these people. How did he get there? And more than that, prior to this promotion that Gail Teixeira referring to, those persons were invited to a meeting at the office of the president. I remember that good. And they were spoken to, I don't know if you call it an interview, but then they were asked to do, by the president himself, made them do an essay. They had to sit in a room and write the essay. And oh Lord, the incompetence and the illiteracy showed up. Because they were locked into something, write an essay about some particular subject. You ain't gonna nobody to help you there. You can't call. When before the appointments were made, as Mr. Conway said, the Constitution requires that the president has meaningful consultation with the leader of the opposition, and the president also have to have consultation with the chairman of the Police Service Commission. At that time, I was the chairman of the Police Service Commission. And in anticipation of the consultation, we initiated a process to have all the persons, all the assistant commissioners, submit their resumes. Oh, God, I get bounced out. Right, some scam like this, something came in here and bounced me. All right, so we initiated a process to have all the assistant commissioners submit their resumes to the Police Service Commission. Thereafter, interviews were held with every single person who were eligible, every single person. And the persons who we thought eligible were all the assistant commissioners. Among those who were interviewed were the same Aiken and David Ramnarine. I recused myself from interviewing Ramnarine and Aiken because I had conducted the Commission of Inquiry and I had reported adversely on both officers. And I believe it would have been unfair for me to be a part of the interview for them to recommend promotions. I recused, and the other members conducted the interview. So that was done. And let me say this. You know, some things are confidential. You can't reveal everything. But if they come and they challenge, then it's going to be revealed. I am saying this without any fear of contradiction. The man or the one that they talk about Ikin, he was the least qualified among the lot. Not only academically, because when you talk about appointing a commissioner, it's not only academic qualification. When you talk about appointing an officer, we said not only the academic qualification, because some of them can be bright like bulb and they're dishonest, they're corrupt, and therefore you have to take all of those things into consideration. And that is exactly what we did as the Police Service Commission. We took all of those things into consideration and we made our recommendations, and I had the consultation as is required with the president before he made the appointment. And I can tell you this further, as I've said it before, the only discussion I ever had with any government official about promotion was that constitutionally mandated consultation with President Granger. Nobody never called me and said promote this body or promote that body as this government tried to do. Nobody never called. I'm bringing Mr. Conway to deal with this part of the poetry. Mr. Conway, what are your views on poetry, my brother?
I don't know what nonsense you're talking about, supersession, you know. I was on the service commission as you mentioned. And as you mentioned, we interviewed all the assistant commissioner. You recuse yourself from Ramnarine and Hicken. And we had justification for supersession. I mean, it's confidential. I will not talk about the confidential issues there when it came in terms of promotion. But I know what took place. And we were very, very fair to them. We interview them. We give them the opportunity to ask us questions and all sorts of other things. And we interview them individually. And they have to produce their CVs. And as you mentioned, he was the poorest out of the lot, academically and professionally. And if you're talking about supersession, well, why shouldn't talk about the last promotion that they handpick members of the service commission led by Bishop Finley had? I always remember on the 4th of July, he's saying he waiting on the list of persons to be promoted, list from the commissioner of police. And then on the next day, 250 something persons were promoted, and supersession was the order of the day. We had a triple jumper, move from inspector to superintendent. We had cases where they promoted people to promoted one person twice. We had cases where they promoted civilian. We had cases where persons with disciplinary matters. I'm not talking about disciplinary matters, they're talking about Karimbash, I'm talking about Brutus, and I'm talking about Jupiter, and we're talking about others who had disciplinary matters pending that were not resolved and get promoted. And they all superseded a whole set of people. I think the triple jumpers superseded about 100 and something persons. So how she could talk about supersessions? Look at the last promotions. On the first, the bishop, and I believe him. If he's a man of God, the bishop is saying, hey, Bishop Finney say, hey, I'm waiting for the list. And the next year, 200 and something thing. How they could do due diligence? How could they check records? How could they do a proper promotion? But it's there. And then she talking nonsense but supersession will be begin before. Yeah? Let's talk about the last promotion that they had there. And then we can take it from there.
Yeah. Supersessions galore during the last promotion. I think it was something 150 something people this boy jump to become superintendent from inspector. The man joined the force and he get 3 promotions. He promoted from constable to corporal, from corporal to inspector, and from inspector to superintendent. 3 promotions. And she talking about and all of those promotions were under the PPP government. All. She didn't see nothing wrong with that then. And let me read it. Well, let me tell you that story about the promotion the 2nd of July 2022. Over 2 years now, they make no other promotion. There's a whole subject in itself. A whole subject, because what really happened is that I had moved to the High Court for an injunction preventing the Police Service Commission from making any promotions until such time that the matter, the challenge to the suspension of the Police Service Commission, which the President did on the 16th of June 2021, I moved to the court for an injunction saying that no promotion should be made until that matter was resolved. Unfortunately, that matter was filed and solved on a Friday, the last Friday in June, last Friday in June 2022. The Monday, first Monday in July, CARICOM Day. So you couldn't get court the Saturday, the Sunday, the Monday. The first opportunity for the matter to come up before the judge was the Tuesday. And Nosef, y'all figure out who is Nosef. Nosef from Carmichael Street instructed them to make sure that the promotion was done before the matter came up before the judge. That is how that thing came up with all them mistakes and all that. That is why Finley, the bishop, could have said on the 1st of July, no promotion, and then the very night, because Nosef from Carmichael Street tell them hustle and do the promotion, slow file an injunction. And we want to make sure that before the injunction comes up, because you can't injunct a matter that's already taken place. An injunction is to prevent a certain action. So the fact that the action was already done, you couldn't injunct it anymore. That is how that happened. I got all the records, I got all the records. Let me read the next paragraph, paragraph 4. Paragraph 4 said, regarding allegations of financial improprieties within the force to which you have alluded, it is public knowledge that these and other allegations were investigated or are under active investigation by the relevant agencies, and in many cases, criminal charges have been instituted. In some cases, the implicated officers have been removed from the force. Additionally, you must be aware that many of these allegations relate to a period when Mr. Ikin was not acting commissioner, and in fact, a different government was in place. Now, let me go into that. She must be referring to the allegation of financial impropriety, which led to myself, Mr. Conway, and several serving and ex-members of the force being charged. What she did not say is that allegation, all of those matters have been dismissed. And in the case where we were charged with conspiracy to commit fraud, the magistrate was moved to remark that there was not an iota of evidence. It was all political. I was a target. They wanted to get me and Conway off the Police Service Commission, so they came after us, charged us, trumped up a charge of conspiracy to commit fraud in relation to the standing order that we were asked to review. They bring the charge. But all of those charges were dismissed because there's no evidence. 20-something witnesses they appeared in court. I can't say they testified. I can't see the testify. People from all over, Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Home Affairs, all of them they brought in to give evidence. The commissioner officer, at the end of the day, the magistrate remarked in writing, the magistrate ruling in writing and made a remark orally that on the 27th of December she did so, that there was not an iota of evidence in the matter. Not an iota of evidence. The main investigator, that same Christian, that Romana, you charged for conspiracy. On the cross-examination, when he was asked, is there any record of any conversation, telephone conversation between or among these defendants? No. You have any text message? No. You have any thing at all? Any record? None. And yet see you talk about conspiracy. Yes, still. Trumped up. So if that's what she's referring to, trumped up. And then she goes on to say that many of these cases, criminal charges have been instituted. In some cases, the implicated officers have been removed from the force. Who? Let's name who? None. We had some of us who had already retired. Well, we are retired, we can't be removed from the force. Some were charged and were close to retirement, have since gone into retirement. Officers have been charged who were in the force. They were interdicted and placed on half pay. Since then, 2021, the 19th of May 2021, the case dismissed in the 27th of December last year, 2023. And up to now, those persons cannot be reinstated. Up to now. So Gail Teixeira come in, none of them. And then she said these things appear under previous government. So what happened to the allegations of corruption now under this government? I'm talking about the allegations of corruption with Brutus, with the same Ikin, and many others. What happened to those allegations? They are not to be considered as well. Are we gonna deal? We're gonna deal with that. Somebody put up something. We're gonna deal with it. But let me bring in Mr. Conway to deal with this paragraph 4, where they talk about people being removed from the. In some cases, the implicated officers have been removed from the force. Let me bring in CC, man. CC, who removed from the force, right?
Well, Muzzy, me and you who get removed years years ago due to retirements. Muzzy don't know what you're talking about. But nobody get removed. Person get charged, yes. And they went to court and the case finished at no case submission. And I was saying that Suku's case was finished at no case submission, apart from Nanlal, where the magistrate ruled that there was no case, that overruled his no case submission, and he jumped to the High Court to overturn the magistrate decision, and they ruled against him. And lo and behold, government change, and the politically appointed, politically controlled office of the DPP null pros the case there. So, and you mentioned two persons get off and interdicted and still remain in interdicted. So what was you saying there is sheer nonsense. And I'm saying also that Suku has never ever go to court and go to trial where the case and win. And none whatsoever. Let her bring one and say where they went to trial and they won the case. So what Gail Tisher is saying is complete fabrication and total distortion of facts.
As Borna would have said, it's complete balderdash. Complete and utter balderdash. Let me go on to paragraph 5. Paragraph 5 of the same letter from Gail Teixeira, Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, to the leader of the opposition, Aubrey C. Norton. Paragraph 5 says, in respect of the death of Quindon Bacchus, again, you must be aware that this matter was thoroughly investigated by the Police Complaints Authority, and a report was submitted to the Director of Public Prosecutions. In consequence, 3 members of the force were charged, and the cases are pending before the courts. Let me say, 3 members are charged. 2 with murder and 1 with conspiracy, Damien McLennan. Nowhere on the scene, no real evidence, he get charged. He has appeared before the magistrate at least 25 times. He went to court on the 5th of July, 2022. 2 years passed. He has appeared before the magistrate about 25 occasions, and the matter can't move on yet. Can't move on. You think the last time you appeared, the matter is now put for November. They say that is what they're doing. And some of the people who are involved, well, let me say this. An Ethnic Relation Commission, I know you might want to cite me, but talking facts. The 3 men who were charged are 3 policemen of African descent. There were other policemen there of Indian descent who the evidence showed were involved in this killing. They were not charged. As a matter of fact, they were promoted thereafter. They were promoted and awarded thereafter. Why? Why? You talk about witnesses? Yeah, 3 people charged. What name? Dinabriga, Simon Thurston, Simon Dinabriga, and Damien McLennan charged. The first 2 I mentioned charged in relation to the killing. The charge, Damien McLennan, a bright, brilliant man who they had promoted to cadet officer because of his brilliance. He got degree at the university. They had him remanded to prison for months. For months, and the man was nowhere on the scene. That's just something with casing from a gun that he was issued with, some bullshit thing they brought about. That is how they're victimizing people, destroying that young man. And you know, not to tell y'all, because I learned, I was following things on Facebook, the man was able to move ahead and do his master's degree. The man got a master's degree. And here, more than that, Gail Teixeira talking, they say you can dismiss these policemen on the 5th of July, 2022. So there was no presumption of innocence. The same day they appeared in court, they were dismissed. Nandalal and them men looking at that. Not dismissed, you know. And you have a case where Roop and others, Inspector Roop, who is an Indian, appeared in court charged for rape or some sexual offense. They had him on the job for months. He wasn't interdicted. For months, he hadn't interdicted. And then they interdict him, and in lava time, in breakneck speed, the man is back on the job, reinstated. And I'm telling you, policemen who had their matters dismissed years ago by the court, still on interdiction. And of course, you're not going to ask, they are of African descent. But this Indian man, who had his matter dismissed within months, is back wearing uniform. He's back in the job wearing uniform. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to deal with this. You see, your views on paragraph 5, my brother.
Yeah, and then you're talking about Hicken. Hicken is in charge of superintendent of the force, and there is it on his watch. Special branch involved openly in operational matter when they should have been undercover. I'll be talking about interdiction. I know a guy, 11 years now, he won his case. 11 years now, he won his case at the High Court. He's on half pay, and he cannot be brought back into the reinstated in the force. And you mentioned about Roop. Roop, yes, and Roop gone to traffic headquarters. I said before, birds of a feather will flock together. They know why they carry him to traffic headquarters. Birds of a feather will flock together.
Well, I get it tight tongue, so you just can't say that too quickly. You got to take my time. Birds of a feather flock together. You got to pronounce the word flock carefully because I might misinterpret what I am saying, right? With my little tight tongue, right? Now, the next paragraph, paragraph 6. Paragraph 6 says, regarding the allegations concerning Ricardo Fagundes, that's paper charge you're referring to, it is public knowledge that Sergeant Dion Bascom, who alleged the police cover-up, is now facing 3 defamation lawsuits in respect of the same allegations. Those matters are pending in the High Court. Let me stop at that part because the next part can make you all sit up and laugh. Hear what it says regarding the allegations concerning Ricardo Fagundes. And in case you all remember, Ricardo Fagundes' paper charge is a man who was gunned down outside Palm Court, a stone's throw from the president's official residence, right? Riddled with submachine gun bullet right there. And they couldn't find who was the, up to now, they haven't found. Bascom went, he said he was part of this investigation, and he named Azruddin Mohammed and other people as being involved in this. So that's what you're referring to. Yeah, they sue him. They sue, right? The fact that they sue him mean that what he's saying is not true. What we can deal with, they sue for defamation lawsuit. But here, what the last part of this paragraph said, those matters are pending in the court. There's a lawsuit, which is true. But then she said, additionally, that investigation into that matter is still active. And the regional and international agencies, including the Regional Security System, RSS, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, are involved in the same. Let me read about. Gail Teixeira is telling Arby Norton that the paper charge murder Ricardo Fagundes, I think since 2021, he was shot and killed outside Palm Court. Gail Teixeira is saying, additionally, that investigation that is investigating into the paper charge murder, into that matter, is still active. And regional and international agencies, including the Regional Security System, RSS, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, are involved in the same, well, my lord, news. First of all, Gail, the RSS, according to the Minister of Home Affairs and according to your government, were never involved in the investigation. What they said, so perhaps it's new. And if it's now they became involved, the RSS and the FBI, tell the public. But don't give the public the impression that that is what has been going on. When the allegation was made, they brought in the RSS, right, to assess the progress of the investigation. They bring some ex-chief inspector from somewhere, and then the man is alleged to have, when he came, they say he came. We never saw any interaction with him or anything like that. And he said that the police were capable, Guyana police were capable of conducting an investigation. And he said the allegations made by Bascom did not have any truth about it. And he did not even speak with Bascom. This is the man who is reviewing an allegation, came to Guyana. The RSS sent him to Guyana. He never spoke to the man who is making the allegation, but he can conclude that the allegations have no truth in them and that the police were capable. 2021, and they still, she said, active. And she said that the FBI are involved in this investigation. I would hope that some one of these railway journalists, like, let me not call him, but we get some railway journalists, will seek to find out from the FBI if they are indeed involved in this investigation. Because this is the first time I am hearing about the FBI's involvement in this investigation. We have called on this program for FBI to investigate that, to investigate the Sugate, and to investigate the current allegation against Brutus and Ikin. We said let them come and do the investigation. They didn't do that. But now we are hearing, me for the first time, that the Fugandus, the Ricardo Fagundes, Paper Shots murder, is being investigated by the RSS and the FBI. That is what they are telling the Guyanese people now. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. Conway, I know you are a man in the know, so perhaps you knew that RSS and FBI are involved in this Paper Shot investigation. Your views, my brother.
I don't know if ever read clearly, but I think I read that the RSS and the FBI are involved. Full stop. It doesn't say in the investigation. They say are involved. I don't think I see. I was looking for some other words. Maybe
But you say in the same, which means that in the investigation.
Okay. All
You
right.
say the Federal Bureau of Investigation are involved in the same. In the
Okay.
same refers to the investigation. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me move on. Now, paper charts matter. Dion Boscombe made some damning allegations. Damning allegations. And instead of them listening to him, in trying to get to talk to him to find out whether or not what he's saying was truthful, they treat him like maybe like a criminal. They try to discredit him, give him cybercrime charges. They didn't look like what happened years ago with the NYPD, where we had a detective sergeant named Sorpico who spilled the bean, who brought down the NYPD, that the other guy, the NAPS commission, he shook the very foundation, the root of the NYPD. And he was just a sergeant. They listened to him. When Bascom case, no, the man listened to him with those damning allegations that he made. And even further feed down under. They had a woman, I think Shelley Ann Oxtave, that she brought down the New South Wales Police Department. And you know, she was a prostitute. She was a prostitute. She was what the Guyanese terms we call a whore, or what Sparrow used to say, a wabbin. And they listened to her. And her story shook the foundation of the NYPD. Roger Rogerson, the most decorated policeman in the NYPD, was convicted. He spent time in prison and he came out of prison horizontally. He died in prison because he was sentenced to life imprisonment. And here it is, was a prostitute coming forward and spilling the beans and talking exactly what happened. But here we have a detective sergeant who was actively involved in a situation, and instead of listening to him, they throw him aside. They didn't listen to him, and then they say that what he's saying was untruthful. The man who allegedly came from the RSS, he in interview was come, but he jumped to conclusion. And then even down to that, the president has said that the RSS report will be made public, and then Ben said that it is confidential, full stop. So it's real cover up, corrupt. You got to listen to people. A man might be an arch criminal, but what he's saying now is the truth. and you have got to investigate one way or the other. But that's they're not doing that. They what they're doing apparently protecting people because we talk will expose people, will shake the foundation of the police force, will shake the foundation of the CID. But no, so they just shut him off and get to show get the temerity to talk about that nonsense, man.
Nonsenseness, man. I can't deny that. Well, it's nonsenseness. But let me tell you, when you say Sopico and you talk about the prostitute coming forward and revealing certain things, they tell you, what people say, that if Patwa come from river bottom and tell you, say, Uriga fever, you got to believe him. Let me go back now. Say if Patwa come from river bottom and tell you, say, Uriga fever, you got to believe. In other words, there are two fishes, Patwa and Uri. And if one comes from the bottom of the river to tell you that the other one is not well, get fever, you have to believe him. You know why? The moral of the thing, because he was there, he know, there were colleagues, they're there at the bottom there. And if he comes and he tells you something is going on, and that's the same thing with Serpico, that's the same thing with Bascom, there's the same thing with the Australian prostitute. If they come from the belly of the beast to tell you things are wrong, you should listen. But they don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. Right? They don't want to listen. And let me move on to the next, the seventh paragraph. The seventh paragraph said, to date, Mr. Ikin remains the most senior member of the force, and the longevity of his tenure has now been augmented by the fact that he has acted in office of Commissioner of Police since 30th of March 2022. That is what I said. He's acted. Yeah, you can't dispute that. How he come for act. Remember we said the thing was challenged in court and all of that. It was challenged. So I ain't going to bring in Mr. Conway on that part, but I can read the last part. Because the last part for me is the best part. She left the best for last. She said, I am to inform you that in the circumstances, having considered your contentions and upon weighing same against the accomplishments of the Guyana Police Force under the superintendence of Mr. Ikin, including the significant decrease in serious crimes, improved public confidence in the force, the overall enhanced performance of the force, and in particular, the performance of Mr. Ikin, His Excellency has concluded that it is in the public interest and in the interest of national security that Mr. Ikin be appointed Commissioner of Police. Let me read that back, man. The thing. This is like Link Show. This is like one of them satire. I would like to hear people like Jimmy Kimmel and Steve Colbert and the Bill Maher's and them talk about this. Hey, what they say? I am to inform you that in the circumstances having considered your contention and upon weighing same against the accomplishments of the Guyana Police Force under the superintendence of Mr. Ikin, including the significant decrease in serious crimes, improved public confidence in the force, the overall enhanced performance of the force, and in particular, the performance of Mr. Ikin, His Excellency has concluded that it is in the public interest and in the interest of national security that Mr. Ikin be appointed of Commissioner of Police. Well, let me say this before I bring in Mr. Conway. The government want to appoint Ikin as Commissioner of Police, and I suspect they're going to go ahead and do it regardless. But don't come and bring this bullshit to Guyanese people. Guyanese people are stupid. We live in Guyana. We know you're talking about reduction in serious crime, improve confidence in improve public confidence in the police force, the overall enhanced performance of the force. Where this woman come from? Or where she come from? That's what I tell you is where she come from. I can't understand that. And many of you, let me hear your comment, man. Let me hear your comment on this thing that the public, according to what Gail Teixeira is saying, the accomplishment of the Guyana Police Force under the superintendent of Mr. Ikin, including the significant decrease in serious crime, improved public confidence in the force, the overall enhanced performance of the force, and in particular the performance of Mr. Ikin. Let me tell you what performance you're talking about. Let me show you all this tape again, man. This got to be the performance she's talking about. Hold on, bear with me. I got to bring the evidence, I got to bring the evidence. That's me police training. Let's listen to the performance here.
Guyana's acting commissioner of police Clifton Hicken today laid to rest claims that his deputy commissioner of police acting Calvin Brutus is on the investigation by the Special Organized Crime Unit. Hicken spoke with reporters on the sidelines of the first legal conference on criminal justice reform at the Marriott Hotel in Georgetown.
It's about Mr. Brutus and the multi-million dollar deposits. Is it true or not?
No, it's not true. And I made a release already through our system.
You didn't see that?
Yeah, I made a release. It's in the system. There was no investigation going on whatsoever.
And no deposits.
Nothing whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
Well, that alone, let me say this. That statement alone, that line statement alone by Hicken, renders him unfit to even remain in the position as acting commissioner. The man lied publicly. The money was deposited. There's evidence to show that. This $16.5 million by Brutus deposited into the police credit union, right? And the investigation going on started since then, and even before then, and going on. And this man come, and you telling me that person is suited to be confirmed as commissioner of police? Now, when you come into the statement, let me the statement by Gail to share before I bring in Mr. Conway. I remember the U.S., there's a thing about the U.S. Surgeon General. The Surgeon General of the U.S. warning about the effects of smoking, cigarettes, and other things, smoking. And what they did not mention, they talk about lung cancer, they talk about all sorts of things. They did not mention it would appear that smoking makes you delusional. That statement that we just read and analyzed, only one conclusion you can come to, that Gail Teixeira, Minister of Parliamentary Affairs and Governance, is delusional to tell the Guyanese public that the Guyana Police Force under the superintendence of Hicken, they are including the accomplishment, significant decrease in serious crimes, improve public confidence in the force, policemen get beaten up every day, improve public confidence in the force, and overall enhance performance. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, man, forget it about it. I can't dominate this thing like that. See, let me hear you on this last part, man.
She mentioned about public confidence. Let me start with the one first. How do you measure public confidence? I'll deal with that later on. But let me say this, that low crime rates do not necessarily mean that a police agency is efficient and effective. A high arrest rate does not necessarily show that the police are doing a good job. A high ratio of police officers to citizens does not necessarily mean high quality police service. Responding quickly to calls to service does not necessarily indicate that the police are efficient. What they're doing is that they have a compilation of what they call crime stats. I don't know if you have it on a slide there. Yes. Okay, beautiful. And these are the crime stats that they're looking at. Murder, rape, burglary, larceny from the person, kidnapping, break and enter, and larceny, robbery with arms where guns used, robbery under arms with other instrument, robbery with violence, and robbery with aggravation. These are the crimes that they're saying that they're analyzing. And these are the crimes where they say the way they're checking to see how well they are doing. And with this category of crimes, although they might find a reduction from last year in last year figures, the figures are too high. The fear of crime is already there, and that these are the figures, So when they talk about reduction in crime, them thing they say is what they're looking at. They're not looking at others, Paul. They're not looking that white collar crime is not serious crime. Manslaughter is not serious crime. Possession of marijuana is not serious crime. Possession and trafficking of cocaine, remember matches which is not serious crime. Unlawful possession of arms and ammunition. Remember the guns where they say they find in Kitty by Bishop family. There's not serious crime. Offenses under the Domestic Violence Act apart from rape, is not serious crime. Arson is not serious crime. Simple larceny, thieving of cars and other things is not serious crime. Cattle rustling is not serious crime. Carjacking is not serious crime. Smuggling, smuggling in gold is not serious crime. Discharging loaded firearm is not serious crime. And there are many offenses that they're not treating as serious crime. They just get 11 and checking the 11 and they say there is it. If you want to know how well the police is doing, all you gotta do is check the Police Act. And the Police Act section 3.2, as I always read it. This is the role of the police. This is what the police got to do. Not going and storing pot for the president or bowling ball for the president's score runs or is a flavor the dance or do cook up competition or the curry competition. That is not the role. Or and more so going and clean up shit and clean up thing and all kind of thing about the place. That is not the role of the police. Here is the role of the police. The police shall be employed for the prevention and detection of crime, the preservation of law and order, the preservation of the peace, the repression of internal disturbances, the protection of property, the apprehension of offenders, and the due enforcement of all laws and regulations with which it shall is directly charged, and shall perform military duties again as may be required of it under the authority of the minister. If they want to know how well they're doing, do citizen surveys. Go to the communities and do surveys. They got a lot of people with master's degrees and all kind of thing. Or if not, they can find some independent body to do a survey to find out how well the police is doing. Don't just jump at crime. Hey, we're checking 11 crimes and they had a reduction from last year, and then we say, oh, well, we're doing. If you want to check for people approval or disapproval of the police is performing, look at letters of criticism, letters of commendation, support for any police program they get, whether they're getting support, cooperation on the investigation, letters to the editor, editorial, police reactions to public reactions to survey anything. Go to the public and find out how well you are doing. If and then is when you're gonna know how you're doing. Don't tell me about no nonsense, but no crime figures as the case may be. And if you're talking Hicken performance, since he's there for over 2 years, not an inspector, not an assistant superintendent, not a deputy superintendent, not a senior sup, not a superintendent, not a assistant commissioner has been promoted since he came to over command. Not one. The morale is low. The morale is low. They're not motivated. And he's at squatter. He's extended. So how are you going to put a man who's extended? How could you actually promote a man who's extended? And then when you look at it, what is he superintendent? He's superintendent big fraud in the Guyana police force. $1 million, hundreds of millions of dollars in fraud he's thinking in. Corruption at the highest level. Corruption at the highest level. He got his deputy allegations of hundreds and millions of dollars of financial irregularity. That's what he's superintendent. He's superintendent high crime rate, and not only high crime rate, the fear of crime. He's superintendent on our roadways where lives and limbs are in perpetual peril. He's superintendent of a police force that the trading division is in shambles. He's superintendent, where ranks are leaving in large numbers. He himself said that they're getting problem retraining and retaining and recruiting person. And you're asking me, you're asking the public, you're asking the people to extend a man who's already on extension. You're up on extension and you're going to extend him further. But then again, he said that Jack Dale tell you that he gonna keep it till after election. Is he to say that greater government was a one-term government, and when the PPP win, Jack Dale gonna make him president. So there is a man be hustling or the one to become president. A man who ain't get nothing for show, an extended squatter, and we hustling to make him a substantive commissioner. And also a man who the superintendent drug runnings, who allegations of firearm runnings where a person got to pay $1.5 million to get a firearm, where they get firearm runnings at Shift Chanjapal Drive, Young Street, a doctor in Lamar Street, a house in Rat Street, a building northwest of Breakdown Police Station. Those are the allegations of serious firearm running, low morale of the force, scores of the superintendent, scores of firearm missing, person like a fireman, when they come back, they can't get them, and all they do, give them a letter say, approval granted for you to get another firearm, and the people got buy their own firearm. And where the public confidence isn't there, people beating up police left, right, and center, and the conduct of the police that you have on the social media, and that is the person you want to become commissioner of police. God help the Guyana, God help the Guyana police force, and God help Guyana.
Yeah. I thought that was a slip of the tongue when he said commissioner. When he said president, he meant commissioner. That was a slip. Now let me tell you further. This is a letter. This is an article in on the 25th of July. Government is well. Let me read it. A caption: Government uneasy with levels of crime, violence in Guyana. So says Anil Nandlal, the Attorney General. So everybody thinks this is Kaicho News. Y'all gotta look for it yourself, man. He said the Attorney General Anil Nandlal on Tuesday during his weekly episode of Issues in the News said that the ranks of the Guyana police force are constantly being trained, but the government of Guyana is uncomfortable with the levels of crime and violence seen in the country. This is Gail, that nicotine or whatever you're smoking, that can't be tobacco, man. That can't be some real cheap weed. Got to be for you to be making these type of statements. And then here what the analyst quote is saying, quote, we are constantly training our police officers to make them better qualified and better suited to deal with crime and criminality in the country. More forensic approaches to investigation are being pursued, end of quote. Nandalal told new listeners on his Facebook show. He further stated, quote, the government is not comfortable with the level of crime and violence in the society, and that is no secret. We have repeatedly accepted that fact, and we are assiduously working to address this situation, end of quote. Let me read back the one Nandalal said. The government is not comfortable with the level of crime and violence in the society, and that is no secret. Well, there got to be a secret to get to share. Then he goes on to say, we have repeatedly accepted that fact, and we are assiduously working to adjust the situation. Look, if this thing is so serious, I would break out in bigger laughter. Nandalal highlighted that there's a number of pieces of legislation the government will be passing. Then he goes on to say, quote, but the legislations are not the singular remedy that can comprehensively and successfully address this problem. We have to have a multifaceted approach. So we will take to Parliament shortly a bill that will increase penalties for different categories of offenses. End of quote. Traffic offenses, he said, will be attracting a higher penalty since in Guyana there continues to be an unacceptable rate of road fatalities, and the government has been passing a menu of statutory provisions intended to address this matter. We have introduced the offense of motor manslaughter, We have introduced a regime of disqualification of driver's license. We have introduced a regime that addresses drunken driving, driving in a comprehensive way, the AG explained. So this is July, of this year. Now the land making a statement that they are comfortable with the levels of serious crime and violence in society. And then Guilty Share now come to tell me that they can do such a fantastic job. So obviously they are singing from the same hymn sheet. Obviously they're not singing from the same hymn sheet. So I can't understand this letter that Guilty Share wrote. But as I've said, let me tell you about the crystal ball. Let me go to my crystal ball before I move on. The crystal ball is saying that they will go ahead regardless and appoint Ikin. Right? Because the president can say, you want, go and challenge it to court. I, as the boss, I'm making the appointment. I recall back in 2006, around then, when Henry Green was to be appointed as Commissioner of Police. The U.S. and other bodies signaled their clear intention that they were uncomfortable, or they were going to be uncomfortable with Green as the Commissioner of Police. They went so far as to revoke, the U.S. revoked Green's visa as a signal to how uncomfortable they are with this proposal to appoint Green as Commissioner. Jack Dio was president. He's reported to have said that they're talking about these things, but they have never produced any evidence. That the U.S. and them, talking about Green, never produced any evidence. Because the allegation was that he benefited from the drug trade, or he was benefiting from the drug trade. Jack Dio said he never produced any evidence. The ambassador at the time was a man named Bolin. African-American was the ambassador. It was said, it was alleged, it was rumored that Bolin confronted Jack Dio with the evidence. Right? Confronted, showing what he was talking about. And Jack Dio stopped talking about no evidence. But he went ahead and he appointed Green. So these people in K, people are saying, well, you got different dynamics now. Well, let me see that, because my crystal ball is saying that they're going to go ahead and they're going to appoint you. Regardless of what the public say, regardless of what the leader of the opposition say, regardless of what the Constitution talks about, meaningful consultation, they will go ahead. They're going to listen to Slow and Conway, all these facts that we bring to you. No. They have the narrative. The man is doing an excellent job, and therefore they're going to conform me. And we're going to have who's suffering is the Guyanese public will continue to suffer. Drive-by shooting, abduction. Recently, man abducted in Main Street again, close to the residence, and some man with some camera in a car capture something. Up to now, the man cannot be found, and they give it no statement. But I say the fact that they got the backyard last weekend, not last weekend before, they were doing some search, and a senior police officer, they say, call out the store, stand them down, tell them stand down. Senior police officer. And there's an article now, let me segue right into that. Then I'm going to come back to this thing, which says, and this is some HGP Nightly News, a senior policeman below the rank of sitting commissioner of police has been named as the main conduit to the criminal underworld in Guyana. Let me read that back. A senior policeman below the rank of the sitting commissioner of police has been named as the main conduit to the criminal underworld in Guyana. Emerging reports and multiple sources have named the senior cop, who is also slated to be promoted soon, as being aligned to criminal gangs. The officer who provides cover for criminals is closely tied to a range of crimes, including drug trafficking, gun running, and much wider assortment of highly profitable illegal activities. According to a highly reliable source, certain businessmen whose pursuits are not all illegitimate are being protected by the senior cop in exchange for payments. In fact, the source stressed that the senior cop should be properly investigated in relation to the disappearance of Joshua David, Carl Briggs, who was abducted from outside New Thriving restaurant last Thursday. That is what HGP News is saying about what is going on at the top of the police force. And Gail Teixeira has the temerity, has the audacity to write to the leader of the opposition and paint this glowing picture. Let me say this. I've said it before. There's always been allegations of corruption in the force since I know the force. I joined the force in 1973. I retired in 2010, and I have maintained contacts in the force. There have always been allegations. Anybody who follow in the news with no allegation. But never before have we had this type of allegations at this senior level. Senior level. I'm saying Brutus, Assistant Commissioner of Police Calvin Brutus. He was in charge of admin. Admin is basically the second most senior position in the police force. He was the de facto 2IC to the force. Allegations of money laundering, allegations of financial impropriety that they're investigating. Banks were moved to close, to freeze his accounts. And Gail Teixeira telling me about this glorious public confidence in the police force. The man is alleged to have several properties. And I am saying the fact that Akin intervened and could have made that statement that no money was deposited when we have the evidence of the deposit. We see the receipt of the deposit. No investigation. And you know investigation taking place. And I said, at the time when he spoke, I think the investigation was announced the next day. Let me give you the benefit of the doubt. And at the time when he spoke, he did not know of the investigation. So what are you doing sitting there? If something like that going on and you know that if the investigation has not started, at least an investigation is imminent, you know that as the man who's sitting in the most senior position, has he been questioned yet in relation to that? So Gail Teixeira, your comments, I said they're going to make the appointment regardless. My crystal ball says they're going to do it. Then maybe under pressure, they're going to also easy out, put somebody in, and all of that. And you know, in closing this matter before I bring in Mr. Conway, I think we get enough time. Again, the Kaicho News editorial on the September the 11th this year, they said police need urgent help. The Guyana police force is sure to put up a fight. The PPPC government is going to play for time in the hope that the bad news goes away. The call is for scrutiny of the Guyana police force, considering the serious developments that have rocked it in a short span of time. We fully endorse that call, but take it further. When the chronic suspicion of lack of trust that pervades Guyana are weighed, it is timely for foreign assistance to be pursued. The Guyana police force is in dire need of help. A good start is activating the proper parliamentary committees with a better supporting effort, including foreign expertise. There have been reports of alleged financial wrongdoing committed inside the Guyana police force. A senior officer of the Guyana police force was held at the John F. Kennedy Airport in New York. More recently, there was a noticeable absence of Guyana police GPF involvement in the huge Matthews Ridge drug bust. The latter is astonishing. Tells so much of what could be wrong inside the Guyana police force, where it is, how it is viewed. When there are developments of this nature and the Guyana police force look less than it should, the confidence in the public takes a blow. Matters are not helped when the Guyana police force command is either tight-lipped or issue terse statements that reveal nothing. When all this is observed, the security of the citizens and prevention of crime all struggle with a void that is not easily closed. To this end, the call is for the government to help the Guyana police force so that it can help itself to be more professional, to be a more professional organization, one that begins that long and difficult process towards earning the trust and respect of Guyanese. For starters, the parliamentary scrutiny could only help, if only to get an idea of what is going on inside the force and how much it can deliver on its mandate to serve and protect. Serve and protect citizens, and not its own possible nefarious interests or those of domineering and tainted politicians. Unless there is genuineness in getting the clearest understanding of where the Guyana police force stands, what its weaknesses are, then the kind of help that is needed is not going to happen. Unless the PPP government is open to listening and ready to do what is best for the Guyana police force, then its shortcomings will remain at the same deplorable levels, with the safety and security of the public degraded. The confidence of Guyanese is already at a low level. Citizens have been taking advantage Citizens have been taken advantage of by ranks on the streets as they go about their lawful business and need help. Notwithstanding the dark clouds swirling over the Guyana police force, the PPP government has seemingly gone into its customary response of putting up a wall while feigning that all is well. And what is going on on the Ghana police force is a momentary blip. We do not agree with any such posture, for there have been too many major issues that all redound to the great discredit of the Ghana police force. This is only from this is only for what have made their way into the media. What damages the reputation of the force? The concern is about what else could be going on and how bad such are. Former Minister of Public Security in the coalition government, Cameron Dramington, had called for the operationalization of the Public Security Committee of Parliament, an unfettered one, and one that functions with an eye to enhancing the Guyana police force and delivering the scrutiny, delivering the security blanket that the citizens crave, could only help. In addition, leader of the AFC, Nigel Hughes, had added his voice with a call for implementing of the Protective Disclosure Act of 2018, which gives some comfort to potential whistleblowers should they come forward to share what they know. We think that there is merit in both calls and that the government should respond quickly and positively. Nevertheless, it is obvious that the Guyana police force needs urgent major overhaul. The input of foreign expertise would be invaluable in such effort. If it were to ever find PPP's government favor, the Guyana police force is hurting. It shows and cannot be denied. There must be willingness to deal with what stares in the face without delay. That is editorial. So maybe be able to share that on a different planet. She is on a different planet when she talk about improved public confidence in the Guyana police force. Stabrook editorial of the 11th of September said differently. Nandalal in July this year say differently. So where is she getting her information from? Where is she getting her? Let me bring in Mr. Khan. We had a long batting. A batting like this make Rastan Chase and Jones beat Warriors last night. They dominated the batting and brought the cake home. So see, take little batting, man.
All right, it's amazing that Gail Tisher could have written a letter like that to Abinart, recommending that you confirm Hicken and extend this quota. A man who has passed retirement age long ago. A man who has no succession plan for the Guyana Police Force. No succession plan for the Guyana Police Force. No career development for members of the police force. Where a man who admitted at his officers' conference that he getting problem recruiting and retraining members of the force. And there's a man you want to confirm. A man who the public doesn't have confidence in, reading all those editorials and all those letters to the press and those things on social media. And not only that, some big ones didn't get confidence in him. The US DA, Drug Enforcement Agency. Kanu and get confidence in him. The GDF of all persons does not have confidence in him. We had a big boss, the big drug boss at Matthews Ridge. Yeah? 4.4 I think tons of cocaine. And then Sunday operation was in the making for 6 months. And you telling me them they had anything? Or if they knew they were complete. These big organizations, the DA, the local Kanu, and GDF, none whatsoever confidence in the commissioner of police. And you're going to confirm me, you're going to further extend it. And then watch what they do. I got to remember the matches which they're saying that the Region 1 commander was fingered. And they move him out almost immediately in labor time with breakneck speed. And those at Matthews Ridge, the heart of the thing, remain untouched. The officer at Port Kaitumo, and Port Kaitumo controls Arcaco and Matthews Ridge, and they're still there. Nobody get moved, nobody get the thing, and up to now, we can't even get anybody before the court. No done proper investigation. Well, if the public ain't confidence, you're gonna get nothing. And it's a border location. Our territorial integrity, region 1, Borima, Waini, where persons have access to Guyana. Airstrip it got constructed. Nobody ain't hearing no plane touching down. Nobody ain't hearing no plane coming. Yeah? And then to some, let me put it this way. We hear the police force need help according to the editorial. I put it this way, that the police force has wounded itself feloniously, self-inflicted. It is maimed, it is disfigured, and is disabled. I don't know what really can be done apart from having hemorrhage. There gotta be a lot of hemorrhage to bring back this police force to some kind of stability. Bleeding got to take place, and they're talking about hemorrhage at the top. Hemorrhage at the top got to take place.
Hemorrhage got to take place. Let me close off. CC, I saw a couple of days ago when the news broke that the president was likely to, well, he intends to appoint the Kenneth commissioner. Look what look what something Big Smith Newswatch post. So if finally confirms it cannot stop cop, indeed coming there. We hope all the pharmacies got pressure pills and that the pressure testing kit are in working order, because Paul Slow and Clinton Conley we need it. That is what Big Smith Newswatch posted some days ago. But let me say this to Big Smith Newswatch. I never suffer from pressure. I had a recent annual checkup, and the doctor commended me on the state of my health for a 69-year-old man. He said, doing good. I must keep doing what doing. My blood pressure was normal. They checked for STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, nothing like that entering the system. I was trying to keep myself fit. So Big Smith Newswatch come out and said, that's why he said, this is like, I put the whole thing, Big Smith Newswatch. I don't think he has refuted that, is he? Right? I will say they say B Smith, and somebody has asked what the B stands for. But let me tell you this, Big Smith Newswatch. At 69, I think you are 38 or something like that. Me do my research. You're 38 or something like that. You don't even know if you're going to reach another day. Me too. Nobody know how long you're going to live. But I am thankful that the good Lord has spared me to reach 69. I'm doing pretty well for 69-year-old. Let me tell you further that I believe I am receiving the blessings of the Lord because of the way I took care of my mother and my father. I'm going to remind you, I'm going to ask you to read Exodus 20:12. Bible, I got to the Bible now. Read Exodus 20:12 and hear what it says. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. I did that. Honor my mother and my father. When my father was sick, I was a young policeman. I took care of him. He wanted for nothing. He died in 1977. I took care of him. When my mother was sick, she died in 2021. I took care of them. So I believe I get in blessings because I honor them. Others like you and others should do the same. Honor, hear what the Bible says. Honor your father and your mother, that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Right? I see you get a letter, but oh God, I said E. I said the thing, the letter is there with his name, our name, it name, the thing name, today's people. I can deal with it Wednesday. I ain't got time to deal with it now. Time caught up, time is already here retreat. So I want to say again, no blood pressure. My blood pressure was normal, and it will remain normal because I just do the right things. And my health is good for 69-year-old. That's what the doctor told me. That's what the doctor told me. They specifically went through, again, the thing on the chart, STDs, no syphilis, no AIDS, no gonorrhea, no STD. That is what the doctor said. Check me out thoroughly. I would recommend that you and others go and do likewise. Go for a checkup and hear what the people can say as to whether you are infected or not with any. It's a good thing to make sure. It gives you peace of mind. And perhaps once you know these things, then one expects, depending on the result, you might have to alter your conduct. So you come in again. I don't know what you see with this geriatric, but you always come in at this geriatric. For some reason, these Germans, the people from the Volkswagen factory, have been coming after geriatrics. Y'all go and look for little boys now, man. Y'all go and look for little boys and forget about these old men, these two old men. Go do that now, right? Go and do that. But again, I want to tell you, but you can't honor them now, because if your parents dead, you can't honor them. But Exodus 20:12 is one of the readings, and I'm going to find other readings that are relevant to you. And then, I said I'm going to deal with it this morning. Well, this really is being self-serving. He, she, it, the thing, self-serving. Because he's one of the sycophants. But the same Ikin, he writes and she writes and it writes and the thing writes and they writes and whatever it is, whatever pronoun is appropriate to make it big up. But the facts are there, and facts are stubborn things. But let me tell you this, Big Smith, because people have said to me, policemen have said to me, perhaps you are self-serving because you know what will happen to you when you can left the job. Not if, you got to left at some stage. So if they extend it and they extend it, you can extend it until Jah say you must come home. But he has to leave at some stage. And people say that them police waiting for you. Because the allegation is that you're driving around with flashing light and siren for your car and they can't talk to you. Because from the time they talk to you, you jump on your car, you can, and they get stand down and they get buck up and they get transferred and all sort of things. So wait, the time is coming. He has to leave. So even if he's appointed now, and rumor is that the Crystal Ball saying they're going to appoint you and then they're going to slide you off the thing or something. At something he has to go. Sometime he has to go. And I'm hoping that when he goes, you still about, so them little police bike will get a vengeance. So that the little police around can get a vengeance for all the nonsense you're doing and they can't talk. Let me bring Mr. Kamit to give his closing remarks, and then I'm going to do my closing. CC, your closing remarks, please.
Well, I still got to respond to the thing. Because as recent as Friday, I went for my half-yearly checkup and I got a clean bill of health. And the thing is that you can't honor your mother, you can't honor your father when you get rid of him by illegal means, And the Lord has blessed me 70 plus 1 and still counting. 70, the Lord has blessed me 70 plus 1. And I must say too that I am not weak down the leg side. My wife of 46 years can attest to that readily. That's all I need to say.
You're not weak down the leg side. I am not weak down the leg side either. Don't let this pink shot that I get on food. I say it is in because of breast cancer month. I'm wearing the pink this morning. I've worn it before, but I'm wearing this morning. Folks, we have had a long morning, 2 hours and more done gone. We have so much more to tell you. But Wednesday, God's Spare Life, we're going to come again and we are going to bring you more information. We had a lot of things circulating, I suspect between now and Wednesday, as is usual, you'll get a lot of other stuff coming up for us to deal with. But we felt it important this morning to come and tell you, or to highlight these lies that Gail Teixeira wrote to the leader of the opposition. And I want to tell you, and I always remind you all, that what the GSK lad said, that what we have today is not a government, but a gang of gangsters. He left out liars. For the most part, what Ghanaians are for leaders today are nothing but out of control lunatics Pathological liars, well, he did say liars. Pathological liars, unreconstructed racists, and political sadists. That's what GSK Lal said. And don't forget this one, you know. Don't forget, hold on. Don't forget, I have to remind you all about these things. I want to remind you all about this. Is this one?
Sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours.
He claims
This thing give me immense laughter and thing. Yeah, I gotta remind you all about all of this. I'm gonna continuously remind you guys about it. I'm gonna continue. Ooh, Sue, huh? I never see a man get catch up. Look, them catches there, that card that he get there is better than any catch you saw in CPL. Like the last night, you are the nights. You wanna get catch? Hope you say you're caught with your pants down. If you're stubborn there, and I'm saying it without any fear of contradiction, that the international agencies, reputable agencies like the FBI, Scotland Yard, and others would have examined that, would have had their behavioral scientists examine that tape, the entire tape, and would have come to a conclusion. Folks, as I've said, God's spare life. We're going to come again on Wednesday to bring you more credible information on speaking out, exposing corruption, incompetence. Until then, stay well. I implore you to stay well. Bye.